All right, very big upsets. The month of March. Shout out the puntastic intro, Ben and Pete. We are here.
What's your favorite berry, by the way?
Blueberry.
Yeah, me too, actually. Blackberry.
Excellent antioxidant.
Yeah. Strawberry is up there, too.
Good for the gut.
Yeah, good. Good
You know, it's an underrated berry. Raspberry.
They're all pretty good, honestly, if we're being honest.
Blackberry's underrated, too. Blackberry's good for you as well.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
So we got men's. We got women's. Let's just talk high level here. Overall, looking at the brackets, anything that sticks out to you before we get into, just who you got, Cinderella stories, upsets?
Yeah, a lot of the talk, first of all, has been around the SEC essentially getting the whole damn conference.
Pete, how many was it?
Was it 4? It was 12
it's
or 14.
Double digits.
14 of 16. 14 of 16 teams get into the tournament. Wow. So that's a big conversation. From the people, because I'm not a big college basketball guy. Shout out my guy Anthony DeBundo from The Ringer. He used to work at Action Network. But when I talked to him about the NCAA tournament, very, very top heavy.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the years where the big dogs and the chalk are, if you look through the data, are head and shoulders in front of some of the lower guys. So
right.
That's something that I'm going to be looking into and seeing how it shakes. But can I give you my quote-unquote Cinderella story?
Yeah, if you want to jump right in. I was going to give a little high-level couple of things just in lieu of that and shout out your boy. But just 16 over-the-one upsets in the history of the tournament, and they've been in the last 7 years. Shout out Fairleigh Dickinson across the river. 11-15.
Virginia and Purdue taking the L's,
Yeah, 11-15 over 2 upsets. So that's a 145-11 advantage in the 15-2 seed. And without getting too much into the minutia, a couple of high-level thoughts here. Dan Hurley in UConn has a chance to do what only John Wooden and the boys did years ago. He's 15-3 against the spread in the tourney. That's the best cover since 1979. So we got that story as well. Of course, St. John's, Patino, unbelievable run. They take care of business, just packed in Creighton in the finals. But, yeah, a little bit of setting the table there as we get into this and talk to me about what you are thinking. We can start out Cinderella all day.
I think, and now I'll go back to the Cinderella. I think the St. John's thing is probably even being underplayed.
They're not. Are they a Cinderella at this point? They can't be, but then historically they are, given how far they've come under Patino in year 2.
Yeah, if you look at Patino year 1 versus year 2 Patino, in every stop that he's had, it's pretty mind-boggling.
It's unbelievable.
He's made a massive impact by the time he gets his claws into the program, into the city that he's in, and by year 2, they are competing. To do what they did in the Big East, go undefeated and just roll people was something special to see. I'm actually disappointed in myself for not getting over to more games at the Garden than we did. But, yeah, I'm rooting for them. I would love to see the hard-nosed style that they play win the title. The thing about that is it's perfect for Big East. It's perfect for, like, a little mini conference tournament where you're familiar with everybody.
Yeah.
You start playing guys you don't play very much. Like, they're locked into a spot where they're going to play Arkansas potentially in the second round.
Which would be Calipari, by the way,
right,
versus Patino, which would be great.
Which would be electric, but they don't know anything about those guys. And offensively, they've been pretty good. So that's where it gets a little spooky, where, like, you're so hell-bent on playing defense and getting stops that it could get spooky. But, yeah, I'm really rooting for St. John's. I hope they take care of business.
A lot of hype around Florida, who ends up wrapping up the SEC ship over Tennessee. They're the 1 seed, but most importantly, they draw Dan Hurley and UConn in the second round for a fascinating 1-8. Is that a potential? And I don't know how you call a 2-time back-to-back Natty champion a Cinderella, but they're clearly the underdog. They'll be getting points in that matchup. Any thoughts there on the turnover with the Huskies and stopping this high octane?
It's always
Florida?
nice when you're called, it's been a down year and you're questioned when you go 23-10 in one of the best conferences in America.
Yeah.
So, no, you definitely can't call them Cinderella. They essentially have the best coach in NCAA ball, and he told everybody that. You see that when he talked to the ref, he's like, I'm the best in the business.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't call that a Cinderella. But I will say that some people might disagree with me on is my Cinderella to go to the women's side of the bracket is Paige Beckers and UConn. because Beckers was kind of Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark. Like, she was the player, the one up and coming, and she dealt with a bunch of injuries, blown out knee, continued to battle, stayed in school, came back off of a reconstruction of a knee, and now she has her team right back in the thick of it, potentially to make a run. So I don't know if you can call Gino Auriemma and Paige and UConn on the women's side a Cinderella, but I think you can, because for her to stay locked in and come back, use up all her eligibility to try to win a title, which she hasn't done with UConn, I think is cool. I would like to see them make a run and potentially win one.
Yeah, Cinderella on the women's side. There's a lot of very interesting storylines. You got the USC, UCLA. They take down Juju and them. She's up for Natty Player of the Year. The Van Lith transfer again to TCU. I'm going to shout out Christina Williams, who was on the Better Half talking about them being the dark horse. I think them matching up with potentially Madison Booker in Texas in a 1-2 would be very interesting. And again, that's not a Cinderella for a 2 seed, but I think TCU on the women's side of things could be a team that's not a South Carolina, not a UCLA, USC, UConn, that maybe could make some noise. And the winner of that in the round of 8, which could be Texas, Booker and them versus Van Lith and TCU, that's something I got my eye on and going with the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, I mean, Van Lith has an opportunity to make a deep run with her third college squad. So, yeah, that's major. And that's going to become commonplace nowadays, if we're being honest. There's going to be a kid that went to Duke, UConn, and Florida, like, coming up in the next 4 or 5 years. So get used to seeing that stuff. But, yeah, there's a couple big names. If we're being honest, in the women's game, there's not as many top-level upsets just because the talent pool is still working its way there. We were talking about it before, I believe, like 20 – what was the number, Pete, of – I believe the number 1 seeds in the women's NCAA tournament have won the title a vast majority of the time. It's like 21. I don't want to say the wrong number, but it's a vast majority of the time, number 1 seed wins the title on the women's side. So,
and real quick and we got to shout out South Carolina because Staley and them are going for the same three-peat as Hurley.
Yeah.
So any thoughts there on the added pressure with South Carolina? They still obviously have a couple key pieces from last year, but you lose Cardoso, a little bit of turnover.
Yeah, of course.
So they're the ones obviously with the target on.
And there's a lot of other really good squads. So like Juju and there's a lot of really good players that you got to get to. So have to get through. So yeah, I don't know if it's added pressure. You know.
Yeah.
I think when you, especially in college. Like, for example, I think if the Celtics won the title, it would be added pressure for year 3 for them to win 3 because it's the same roster, same coach, same everything. In college, there's so much different turnover that it feels a lot more new and fresh and individual of the season to me, in my opinion. So I don't think the pressure is there as much.
Moving forward, just kind of looking at your bracket as a whole, we'll go back to men's here. Round to 8, title game. You can reveal the last 4 you got in there.
I went all chalk 1 seeds.
You did?
Yeah.
How many? I guess let's start with how many SEC teams you got in the 4.
2. So I got Auburn and Florida.
All right.
My Final 4 is Auburn, Florida, Houston, and Duke. And I got Florida winning it.
Florida, Houston, Duke. Man, I will probably sleep this off and reshuffle.
I like St. John's, though. That'd be fun.
I was looking at Auburn so many times to get got by Kalkbrenner and Creighton in that second round, but Creighton didn't give me enough in that St. John's final. I got Auburn dancing against Patino and the boys.
That'd be awesome.
And I got Nate Oates going against a guy who cannot cover for the life of him in the tournament, Rick Barnes and Tennessee. I hate that I have Tennessee, and I got St. John's over Bama.
Yeah. Barnes
77-71.
Texas days still same old.
I'm trying to let's talk high level here. I asked this question to Christina last week, and you could talk men's, you could talk women's, both. Is this a tournament that deems best core group goes on the run? Auburn, for instance, 5 guys in double figures, or is it a Cooper Flag, a Cryer, super senior for Houston, one guy, Sears for Bama. What's the theme if you had to forecast for the tourney, starting with the men's?
More team oriented.
Really?
Yeah, like Auburn, multiple guys in double digits. I think it's the way the college game is set up, it's very difficult to go scorched earth, Jimmer Fredette, like type.
Oh, no way,
you know
you
what I mean?
shouted
Or
him
like
out.
Steph
Let's go.
Curry or like those type of guys.
Yeah.
It's the better story. Cooper Flag runs roughshod over the NCAA tournament and wins it, but it's just so difficult to do for young guys, and
so
it
it's
just
more
doesn't
like
happen
what
very often.
UConn's
It's like
been.
like a balanced, inside out type of squad that can do multiple things and have multiple guys go off and get it done.
And then on the women's side, though, is it different? Because I feel like Juju could take the tournament over.
Well, I think it is different because I think you're not going to be in as many barn burner games. So if you only have to ask Juju Watkins to go crazy twice in the last 4, the last 8,
Sure.
it's a lot more doable than
Do you have
carry them through.
your last 4 for the women's? Any thoughts there?
I don't have the last 4 for the women's in front of me, but
I got a riveting UCLA USC rematch in the 4. Fascinating.
yeah.
UCLA really is playing great, speaking of team ball. And I got SC, and believe it or not, Texas and TCU, we're leaning TCU. I still feel like, obviously, I can't go back on that. But if Texas gets past them, they could be the team that maybe debunks South Carolina. I don't have it. I got SC going 3 straight over Juju and USC. SC versus SC.
Can Juju go pro after this year? Or she have one more year?
I think because she's a sophomore,
She
so
has
I
to go
think.
one more year then, huh?
I believe it's one more year.
Question.
I found that 1 seed thing. It's all time 33 of 43 national
33 of 43.
won by on 1 seed.
By 1 seed.
There's only been 1 16 to beat a 1, a 15's never beaten a 2, and a 14's never beaten a 3.
See?
Oh,
which happens all the time in the men's tournament. So
exactly. So the still playing a little catch up on the talent side. It's typically mostly all flowing up to the top squads. So
biggest, just wrapping it up. Any out there upset in either brackets? Any real big, 11 over 6, 12 over 5? I got one for you.
talk to me.
UC San Diego, not San Diego State over Michigan, who just looked very impressive and stole a Big Ten title from Wisconsin. So I got a fun little UCSD to the 16.
What about the 11? Whoever comes out beating Ole Miss, that's very live in my opinion.
Well, and that's a great thought you brought up because UNC's just getting dragged for getting that West Virginia spot they should. And then you got Dutcher, my guys, San Diego State, who play absolutely smothering defense. There's a world where the winner of that game could actually get into the 16
that's
as
tonight,
well.
right?
It's Tuesday, yeah.
I'm gonna watch.
Alex, do you know the mascot of UC San Diego?
It is. Oh my God, I know it off the.
Great question.
Dang it, because it's
Sunny Rebel or something like that. It's like the beach.
Nah,
the surfing.
You're along the right track.
That's
Yeah,
what it was. It's a Triton.
yes.
Oh, it's in my head.
The Triton.
I was thinking of the ASU pitchfork, and I got it in my head. But yeah, any boys? Any thoughts on any of your guys' hot takes or winners we should tail?
Well, I live in a Michigan household. I didn't go to Michigan, not really my team, but I sort of have to. But I'm also circling that as being the 5-12 upset.
You're taking Triton with me?
I kind of would. I mean, think about it. They won the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, a little drop off.
Made a run, so they probably feel a little bit of those vibes, feeling the hype. And unfortunately, I just see that being the upset.
By the way, King Triton, the backstory.
Tell me.
Of the UC San Diego mascot, described as the offspring of Poseidon and Amphitrite, the demigod of the sea.
Amazing.
I just had I had to bring it up.
That is unbelievable.
That's outrageous. I didn't know San Diego's getting down like that.
Yeah, I'm rocking with them.
All in on the Tritons,
Fill
man.
me in.
Tritons, we're all on the Tritons.
Bet against the Big Ten, always.
All right. Very big upsets. UCSD, we're out. For more Juice Bar, make sure to check out the podcast wherever you get your audio platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple, Google Play. Keep it rolling. More Juice Bar. Stay locked in.